Hey everyone, it's Ryan. In today's video, let's just say it sort of turned into a bit of a mess, but we turned it around, we saved it. So I'm going to be showing you how I am decorating something similar to the Wildflowers cake that I posted last year. And it's a little more fall inspired. It has some very warm fall colors and some little pumpkins. And then yeah, we kind of saved the cake with something additional that I hadn't planned on, but hey, it turned out really cute. So hopefully you enjoy this video. All right, so to get started with, I just have one of my little acrylic cake grounds here. And then I just made some 6-inch round with white cake mix. Went by the box directions because sometimes I just crave, we used to call it at work, trash cake. Really like grocery store cake. And this icing is, so if you go to the store and you see a cake with whipped icing written on it, that's what this is. So I did not make it from scratch. You can actually go and either purchase bags of this or they might sell it to you by weight. It just depends on your store. I have purchased it basically in a big sealed piping bag. And that was at Food Lion when we lived back in North Carolina. So here, I don't know. I haven't been out and about looking for anything like that. So I'm not really sure here. As far as a grocery store, I know Walmart will sell it. But this, I'm going to show you here in a few minutes how I purchased this. And I was so excited after we moved back here, knowing that we were going to be closer to a store that I always loved going to back when I owned my bakery, because they just have like really cool restaurant equipment and restaurant just stuff like bulk items and like scoops for cake and all of that kind of stuff, or cupcakes. So it's, I just love this icing, and now and then I just really crave it. So yesterday I whipped some up for this video and I'm going to have to make some more. So I figured I would show you guys what it is that I use to make it. We'll say that with air quotes around it because I'm not really doing anything other than whipping it up. So I am just going to get this crumb coated and then we will make some more. And this icing, because it is whipped, it's like a, I don't even know how to describe it if you haven't had it before. If you've had it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's almost like a Cool Whip, but it's sweeter and it's a little more stable, obviously, because you can ice a whole cake with it and it doesn't like break down super easily. It does not take color very well, I will tell you that. So in decorating this cake, I have just some regular buttercream that I pulled out from my refrigerator that I had left over from something else. So that's what I'm going to use to decorate. Back in the day when I was first starting out with my bakery, I did attempt to ice and decorate an entire cake with this stuff. And like I said, it does not take color well, but also it's like a whipped, we'll call it a dairy product. So almost like a whipped cream, so it melts in your hand super easily. And I had to do a giant cake in basket weave, and it was awful. So I'm just trying to get the sides of this cake straight up and down because, like I said, it's a little soft. So I'm going to get this in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to show you what it is that I used to make this. All right. So this is what I purchased from the store. The store was GFS, and I think it stands for Gordon Food Services. They don't have them everywhere, but it's called Better Cream, and you can buy this pre-whipped in a 5-gallon bucket. That's how I used to order it at the bakery. But perfectly whipped, sweet whipped icing. On Honestly, this is my favorite icing for a cake. So for this, I am going to measure, basically whatever you measure out, it's going to quadruple. So I measured out 1 cup of this, whipped it up with a hand mixer, and got 4 cups. So I don't need that much for the outside of that cake. I have this much left. So I'm gonna just do a 1/2 cup and whip it up and hopefully get about 2 cups. So yeah. There we go. That is it. So I just whipped it up. You want to whip it up till it's kind of stiff peaks. Um, you don't want to over whip it. So just if you're getting close, stop the mixer, whip it up a little bit with one of your little whisks here. And yeah, that's it. If you did want to add color and you were going to try to color the whole batch, add your color while it's still liquid. It's just easier to get the color more incorporated that way. And so that you don't overmix it later. So yeah. All right. So one thing I will say for this icing, as you can probably see, it is certainly not as stable as just a buttercream because there's really nothing in it that makes it set up when it's chilled. So it's a little wobbly. Not gonna lie, I'm a little scared that it's gonna fall over. So in the past, I had really only used this for sheet cakes. So I'm just doing this to make y'all a video and so that I can eat this delicious cake after it's done. So in reality, I am okay with the fact that it's a little wonky, but just know that if you are making this for something and you are doing a layered cake, that you might want to do something with like a texture on the outside or something like that, so that if it does bulge a little bit at the seams or anything like that, you have a little bit of forgiveness with the texture that you put on the cake. And you saw how easy that whipped up. So I would probably say if you are able to find somewhere that can just give you or sell you a bag of this icing, or if you can find somewhere that has the carton, you're better off to do that, because unless you're a business, you really are, if you buy the 5-gallon bucket of this icing, it's going to waste before you are able to use it. Like I said, unless you have a business. So like I said, I can't tell you how excited I was when I found somewhere again that I could buy this stuff. And the reason I called this trash cake before, it was something we would sort of joke about at work, because I worked at a bakery where the owner tried to get the most natural, locally sourced ingredients and organic where she could. Like we had a local egg person and all that kind of stuff. And for my birthday, a lot of times people would be like, oh, what kind of cake are you gonna get from work? Or what kind of cake do you want? And I'd be like, a grocery store cake with whipped icing, please. And they would always make fun of me for that, because, you know, we had, sorry, this is messy. So we had like 30 something different flavors of cake at the bakery to choose from. And I would be like, I want a grocery store cake, please. So yeah, it was just kind of funny. And this is probably like the furthest thing from natural, certainly not organic. It is box cake mix with some whipped, all kinds of stuff. I looked at the ingredients yesterday and I can't remember everything that was in it, but let's just say it certainly was not natural. And so if you're judging me for using this right now, I'm sorry. Maybe we can still be friends. So just trying to cover up that spot there where I had to do a little shifting. So that's going to be our back. Up here, as you can see, we are just having some difficulties. Lots of difficulties. Something's going on here. I don't know if my cake is falling apart underneath here or what. I think this little ledge here is creating some issue. And this is just what happens sometimes, even if you're not using this kind of icing. Like, sometimes your cake just does not want to be cake. And that's just something you deal with. So we're just going to use our imagination that this cake is beautiful, this top is flat, and all the things that we want a cake to be. And I will do my best to show you what we're going to do at the top of that to make it look a little better. It's not what I had planned, but we're going to shift and adjust. All right, so my goal with this cake was to sort of do a more fall version of the Wildflowers cake that I did last year. So obviously this cake I would not send out for an order or anything like that, looking like this on the side. So anyone that wants to complain about the look of the cake, I am sorry. I promise I would never send an order out like this. But for the sake of the video, let's pretend the cake is beautiful, the sides are straight, or whatever. So I just have some green here, and I tried to make some like very fall inspired colors. So I'm gonna take this like olivey green, and I'm just going to make a couple of sort of stems up the side. And like I said, this is just regular buttercream. It's just like an American buttercream, because this icing, this whipped icing, does not color well, and my hands are way too hot to pipe with it. So similarly to that Wildflowers cake, I'm going to just start piping some cute little random looking flowers, and I have to make sure that you guys can see this. So for this color, I really just kind of saw just some little cluster flowers. Nothing too specific. And there is no specific flower that I am looking for here. Just, I mean, and it's fall, so things are starting to sort of die. So those things that you see alongside the road a lot of times are just like wildflowers, are brown, and they're not the most beautiful looking things, but it's a sign of the season. Seasons are changing. And I'm so happy we are getting some cooler weather. Although I am sad the pool will not be getting used here soon. So for this color, I really saw a couple years ago especially, I had an obsession with pampas grass. So for this color, it should be a little more brown, but when I was making it, it looked perfect. So what I'm gonna do with this one is I'm going to make a few stems coming up. And you know, when you see pampas grass, it is like, or it can be, it's not always, but it is like crazy, growing insane. So I'm gonna do that there. But down at the bottom, even this time of year, it still has some green. So I'm just going to pipe some green, like the base part of it. And then up here at the top, of these. Let me see if I can change this angle a little. So up here at the top, I'm going to just sort of add on one really long, and then I'm just going to add on to it from there. And I said a couple years ago I had an obsession with pampas grass. I still have my obsession with pampas grass. But after we moved, and I attempted to move some of that pampas grass, oh my goodness. And I had to clean our old garage from the pampas grass mess. I can officially say that I am not the biggest fan of having it stored anywhere. So maybe I do have some new neighbors that I don't really know that have some pampas grass that I keep eyeballing. And I want to work up the nerve to go and ask them if I can take a few pieces of it. Because all it has to do is dry. And I would really like to put it on the front porch or just decorate the deck with it. So there's that. Yeah, it kind of gives the effect. And then because it is fall, let's add some little pumpkins. So here I just have like a burnt orange and it just has a star tip. This is the Ateco 15 star tip. So I have made another video using or making pumpkins, but I'm just gonna take the little star tip, go out and up, and then just sort of build the center. And let's make another one, but let's make it laying down. So then we're just going to add, because I didn't make brown, we're just going to add a little green stem, and you can add a curlicue if you want. So hopefully you can kind of get the vibe that I'm going for here. Like I said, a lot of you, or maybe the people that watched it aren't even subscribed to my channel, but that Wildflowers cake really went kind of crazy. So if you are one of those people that watches it or has watched it, thank you. So I just thought this would be a nice little way to do another version of that. So for these, I really like this. I have no idea what the flower is, but it's like a very long, wispy, it like hangs over really far, and it almost looks like it has like little berries on it. So it's bigger, like thicker here at the base. And so I just made those lines to sort of outline the path that I'm gonna go on. And this tip is getting gunked up. So I might have to change that, because it says it's a 2-tip and none of this that is coming out of here is that small. So we're just gonna go in and make this a little thicker here at the base. Okay, I'm gonna have to change the tip. All I had left were 3s or double zeros, so because it was already throwing a fit with the 2, I figure I might as well go with the 3. So down here at the bottom, you can just use light pressure and make those dots just a little bit smaller. trying to do my best to angle so that you guys can see what I'm doing. But not icing a cake directly, or decorating a cake right in front of you is a little difficult. And I don't necessarily want it to be the front of the cake, but since it's fall, you know, there's like the little straw bales with pumpkins on them. So we can do one of those sort of back here on the back. So I'm just going to outline my little rectangle, fill it in, kind of rough, but then here on the edges, we'll just sort of give it a rough little look. And then we'll just sort of drag and make little lines like the baling wire. So then we can set our little pumpkins on top of it. So again, we're just going to come up. And we'll do another one here on the side. Give them their stems. And there we go. This is very simplistic, I know that. So we can just do some like different types of flowers if you want. We are not trying to replicate, really. I mean, we are trying to replicate flowers, but we're not going for like the exact look. And if you are, good for you. But I am not. So I am just making some random little stems. But you can sort of make them, you could do kind of like you would make like a rosebud or something, but with a regular tip. Let's see if I can show you here. So do a line up, then do a line on the side and on the side. Up, side, side. So these look like zero flowers that I've ever seen in the wild or in real life, but they're cute on a cake. And you don't have to do 3, you can just do 2 for these little baby ones, or you could just do 1. Or you could get crazy and do a few extra and make a bigger flower. So then here, let's do another one. Another orange one. Let's make some taller to sort of go out over this side. You can add on. Okay. Actually, we can just use this yellow too. It doesn't just have to be for the pampas grass. So we could just do like little clusters. The reason I'm piling them like so sort of thick on top of each other is just to add some dimension to the cake. So they kind of look like those yellow, I don't actually know what they're called, but they're those yellow ball flowers. that you can dry, and they dry really well.
Oh, look, flowers. The flower? The flower?
Mm-hmm.
Flower? The flower? It's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
It's so beautiful cake.
It's a beautiful cake. Thank you. All right. So we'll do another little, just do a little one here. We can just do a little 6 point or 7 flower. You could even, just a second, make the center a different color. So you could go in with your yellow, add your yellow center. Okay. Now we're gonna go in and just add some leaves. So just add them wherever. Pressure at first and then lighten up on your pressure. I like to do this just because it adds, again, a little more dimension. And here on these, I like to just do almost like a little heart at the bottom to make the leaves. Just little baby ones on this one. Oh, got away from me there. That is okay. All right, so there we are on the side. So I said I would show you what to do with the top. Again, not my best work on icing. I'm gonna blame the icing, but I will show you what I'm gonna do here on the top just to sort of show you how you could fix this if you have a cake that is being difficult. Y'all, I just decorated this entire top of this cake and it did not show because I forgot to hit record. So I'm gonna scrape it. The cake's gonna look worse, but I said I would show you how to fix that area, so I'm gonna do it. So bear with me. All right, so here we go. I really got my work cut out for me now. So let's retry this. So I am going to start down here where my ugly cake starts and just, I know the camera is going to start jumping back and forth. It's because my hand is so close to it. So just start at the bottom and start adding some stems. You can add short ones, add long ones. I'm gonna cover that part up with a leaf. We're gonna go there. Okay, I'm gonna have to add a lot more flowers than I had on here before. Yay. Okay. So let's try this again. So I'm going to make some of these little puffballs up here, so I'm going to do them a little different up here. But I'm just going to make a mound of the yellow all over, sort of. Yes, I know my bag is exploding. It is what it is. I am almost through these bags that I absolutely cannot stand, that I've, for whatever reason, held on to forever. So you just want to make sure that your little, if you're doing flowers like this, the little puff balls, if you make something like the mound, you want to make sure the sides don't look like you just mounded a bunch of icing there. And like I said, this one is going to look a little bit different than how it did when I first started this clip, because I moved the camera so it would be a better angle and forgot to hit record. So that was my bad, but doing right and redoing it, not just showing you what it looked like. Because I'm here to tell you, you can hide the ugly of almost any cake. If your icing, if your base icing is sticking to your cake still, it's not melting off, you can do something to save it. And I know some people on here have said that they love that I keep the mistakes in and show how to fix certain things, and here you go. But I also know there are some people out there that are like, seriously, you were paid to decorate cakes and this is what it looks like? Yes. Yes. And apparently someone has decided to start singing. So with our star tip that we used for the pumpkins, I'm just going to make some little random flowers to sort of stick in here where we have a lot of that cake showing. We can sort of add something down here too. Now we have this maroon. So we are going to just make some other flowers. And again, just go in where there are no stems, because if it's a bouquet, you have flowers everywhere. So it's kind of like a little fall wildflower bouquet on the top of your cake. So now we're going to go in and add some leaves. So, or I should say, since it's a bouquet, we're adding the greenery, the filler. And by that, I mean we are covering up the cake and the mistakes. And that is okay. So you just make your little greenery stems everywhere. And there we go. It's still pretty. It's still beautiful. But yeah, this is not exactly what I had envisioned for this video, but here we have it. The sides, very similar to the wildflower cake, but more fall inspired with the colors and the little pumpkins. And the top, just a nice little bouquet of fall flowers. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you don't think it was too much of a train wreck. And yeah, I will be doing some more videos soon. Let me know if there's something specific you want to see on the channel or a certain recipe you want me to try. I have some jam bars that I'm really wanting to make here soon. So yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.